What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the debut project by Murphy Lee of Saint Lunatics. Basically this product is called Murphy's Law and it came out in the fall of 2003. So the thing about this product here is just the fact that Nelly was having a pretty large come up throughout the 2000s decade as far as what's first going to happen, especially throughout the first half of the 2000s. Now for the most part he managed to substantialize kind of the concept of getting the STL folks, the Saint Lunatics, kind of their foot in the door, some of those type pitches, particularly 2001's Free City with some excellent type appeal. That at least went platinum, had a good series of singles. Ollie followed up in like the spring of 2002 before Nelly dropped Nellyville in the summer of 2002. And it's just the pitch that the rest of these folks were starting to get some roll out as far as what's going to happen. Now within the pitch, once Nelly kind of somewhat shifted out of the spotlight in 2005, some of that fare started to dwindle a little bit. But at least around this time on Nelly's off year, for the most part, there wasn't a commonplace ton of Nelly in 2003, but he actually was there despite not dropping an album full bound that year. Between like a particular number one that is on this album, which is called Shake Your Tail Feather, which is a pretty excellent type of appeal. That was originally on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, was just a song of the summer as far as what's supposed to happen, just everyday type fare for VH1, BET, MTV, some of those stuff plays, just excellent type of appeal pitch just like that. And it was a send-off to like the Murphy Lee album that was going to come out in the fall of 2003. So some excellent type pitches. That was kind of a conduit type moment. Now the appeal behind this product is just the fact that this basically feels like an offshoot of a Nelly album, not to say full bound that Murphy Lee doesn't stand on his own, but it's just kind of within the pitch as far as saying this has some excellent type of appeals. This has some J.E. beats on here, which is pretty excellent because he's a pretty prominent Nelly producer, at least back in the early days. Has folks on here. King Jacob is on here. The Saint Lunatics are on here a number of times. Nelly's on here in his prime form a number of times. Jermaine Dupri helps out a little bit. Avery Storm is on here. So some folks like that within those aspects. Some big names within the pitches. Pretty started just even bass kind of classic. So there's really, out of 15 songs this album, it's really only one song I don't recommend. So this album easily gets a 10 out of 10 within those pitches. Just prime era back when Nelly had the Midas touch and everything around him had the Midas touch as well. Just within those pitches. It's basically, and this does have a series of singles off of it. At least has two. Now this album wound up going gold within those pitches, which is pretty good for just like an extra kind of It's pretty good for a member of Saint Lunatics that's not Nelly, considering that the Saint Lunatics as a group didn't last as full bound long in terms of like album type appeal, but some excellent type fare. Particularly the surprise hit out this album is What the Hook Gonna Be, which did a lot better than what was supposedly, I mean nowadays in these particular times, usually when you get like a single from like a wingman type fellow, like when you think of like at least maybe not so much Don Toliver, but within some of those pitches, some of those particular type folks, when they are a part of like a package to like a larger rapper, their singles don't usually chart on like the Billboard 100. But this was a good look back in 2003 because one of Nelly's bigger wingmans did pretty excellent on here. One of Nelly's bigger wingmen did pretty excellent on here. It's just in the pitch. Now the Ali album did at least have that heavy. Ali's album at least had the hit single Bughetto on there, but it just didn't do as terrifically. But I still wound up giving that album like a 10 out of 10. It's just the same sort of appeals here. So this has some good rumblers. This is a little bit higher budget than I think based upon the prominence that Shake Your Tail Feather particularly kind of had. It led into like the aspect that he got a pretty large budget off this album. Not to say like Murphy Lee didn't have the talent, but it's just the pitch that this has some good type of appeals of having comfy aspect to be able to drop like some good gems on here within that particular aspect. So some good type tone. Like I said, just basically like getting an offshoot of like a Nelly album. Just in the pitch. Now Nelly did drop like the dirty versions, the reinvention, the fall of 2003, but he didn't really drop an album again, and he dropped 2 albums in 2004 with Sweat and Soup. It was just the pitch. So this was kind of spare type moments for like the Nelly fold as far as this pitch can happen. This is an excellent primer to kind of get this, just some good aspects that have a lot of good moments. So this is leftover summer, just being able to say kind of within the pitch as far as saying this is still typically a summer album, maybe not as full bound, minus like probably Shake Your Tail Feather and maybe like a couple other ones like Red Hot Riplet, some of those type ones. Amidst like the full bound kind of summer heat, it is kind of more of like the basking of like late August and early mid September. Some of those type pitches is like summer starts to wind down, but it very much still is amidst like poolside type John's pitches like that, where you'd be in swim trunks and swimsuits, bathing suits, some of those type pitches within the format. So just the aspect as far as saying particularly has a lot of good poolside and this pool party type of feel with an aspect. Pretty sociable type product. Murphy Lee kind of is a gab type dude. He has some chattiness about him more so than with the edge. Just kind of within the kind of gives vibes of like Sugar Free and Chingy, some folks that do have particular slick tongueness about within the fare, which is some excellent type of appeal. So it just has that particular chatty type conduct. This typical kind of homey type aspect within the tone as far as what's going to have. It's typical kind of home dog chunk up the deuce type fashion within some of those type pitches within the format of it. It's too bad that the third single Love Me Baby didn't chart a lot higher and make it higher up on the fare, but it's just some excellent type pitches. This does have more social commercial kind of ness about it than what's probably seen within the tone. So it's definitely some good type appeals. 3 singles off this album, one of which was also on one of which is also on the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack, but you might as well pick up this project instead. I would say within certain fashions, the Bad Boys 2 soundtrack might have some certain degree of fare about it, but I think within the aspect, that one's a little bit tricky to find. It's kind of within the aspect, I tried getting that from the library back in the day, and it just didn't cooperate with getting it, but I just would have to say as far as the tone's going to happen, probably has some relative gems on there, but I just would question, it's just easier to pick this up if you're solely seeking that song, because this has more Murphy Lee, which has other hits, so... Shake Your Tail Feather is like a classic 2000s kind of summer anthem to kind of get here. Just a banging kind of pool party and heat wave fun as far as this pitch can have. It's a good song to move around to pitches like this. This is the product like spring break type fares, some of those type pitches. Of just being in swimsuits every single day, pitches like some of those type fares. Just the product to hot out. This is real miss like the crest of summer. This is like the sort of song that summer needs to get back to within some of those type pitches. Just being like a summer banger, just aspected wholesomely within the pitch. This is classic type fare. Easy kind of hit, and this, despite the fact that probably the anchor of this particular album this particular song might have been Nelly, it's just the excellent type pitch that Murphy Lee did pretty excellently on this song as far as getting towards it. It's a real good combination of having Nelly, Murphy Lee, and Puff Daddy on here as far as this first album. It's just real excellent type time. It was just a song that just stretched pretty far within those pitches, so it did the appeal pretty well. What the Hook Gonna Be is the second single. This was the surprise hit of this album. This is one that kind of probably was like another secondary type anchor that was more exclusive to this project that did a lot better than probably was within the tone of it. It's like a banging kind of neighborhood jostle kind of get here. Just a nice pull for Murphy Lee, like I was saying, excellent type pitch. It's like a 2000s kind of STL jumper pitch, just like that, and the song slaps pretty well. So it's just some pitch as far as saying, kind of within the product, this house party type noise, some easy kind of red cup type music, just within the fashion, just having like that particular brush to just getting towards it, just kind of. This is how a lot of albums should have wound up being within the product. Just saying, this has some good type bump about it. This feels like a Chingy song. This feels like a Jay Quan song. Some of those type folks that were just ripped out of the STL era pitches like that. It just feels like one of those typical type rumblers that just happened all the time. It's easy kind of Murphy Lee holding this ground and getting off some hit potential with some of these. If this album had had another song like this one, I probably would have said it probably would have wound up going platinum just in the pitch, because I feel like, for one thing, Murphy Lee having his own number one was pretty excellent, because this is actually more Murphy Lee's song, even though Nelly was probably the reason why it charted. It's just a good aspect that this is actually Murphy Lee's song instead, and this is the pitch as far as saying had good pull with Puff Daddy being on here back in his prime era as well when he was doing the Making the Band stuff. But What the Hook Gonna Be is a great, excellent exclusive. And then Love Me Baby was the third single. And this one was an attempt at it, but this probably should have been the fourth single. I know he probably wouldn't have wanted to just kept riding Nelly's wave as far as this pitch can happen, so I probably wouldn't have went with Red Hot Riplets as like a good single, despite the fact that it has like some excellent type of appeal. But I probably would have went with Hold Up. I think that was attempted as like a promotional single, but that probably should have been the third single. It would have been within the good type pitch of just getting three house party type rumbler songs. But Love Me Baby's the third single. It's like a summer evening dredge kind of get here, just typical caught up. Love Me Baby's like a typical kind of caught up day relief to kind of have within those aspects, just feeling hella sprung pitch just like that out the song, just some good fun within those tones of it. You know, some feeling hella sprung type fun within the pitch behind it. So just the aspect of just getting like a typical kind of jazzy fade type production, some of those type ones that you expect from like T.I. with Let's Get Away, some of those type moments, other folks like that, Rick Ross, some of those type folks that would hit up jazzy fade around those times. Just the pitch as far as saying, real excellent 445 and 545 day relief within some of those type pitch to just the unwind and getting towards it. Just the unwind and the relief of just gotten done with getting towards as far as this first going to happen, just kind of in a more aspect of being sprung over particular nearby beesies and bells within some type aspects as far as those tones going to happen. So just the pitch of just saying, typical kind of conduct of summer heartache, just in a more kind of upkeep. It's the particular affair of like some summer kind of heartache, just with a more kind of bounce about it within the product. So this is kind of a like moving kind of song. It's not like there is a song that's pretty similar to like Nelly's Dilemma on here, which is the song Murphy Lee named after himself, Murphy Lee. But it's just in the pitch. The couple of lady songs on here, Love Me Baby, is just a little bit more of like a kind of just a determined and making vows type one within the pitch as far as those assets going to go. So good type tone. So yeah, I look after the only song I don't recommend off this album, which is unfortunate enough because this was a J.E. production, is just This Goes Out. This is a particularly kind of star-studded type song. Has Lil Jon, Lil Wayne on here, and Nelly even within some of those type pitches, and a cat named Roscoe and a cat named Carden. But it's just the pitch that this felt like a sports game type song within the pitch, but it really was pretty flat with the way it delivered upon it. Normally I would have said these songs would have worked a lot better when you think of songs by like the St. Lunatics when they do this stuff like Time, some of those type ones that just feel like more traditional kind of football game type moments. This just felt like the noise like something that would have been out and about at like some sort of ball game pitches like that, but this really did not have. I mean, maybe within certain senses the star-studdedness would have enough impact to be able to somewhat recommend it, but this really didn't feel as quality as what it probably needed to. But this album still gets a 10 out of 10 just in these aspects, so plenty of these on here. So yeah, like I was saying, a better choice for the third single would have been Hold Up. This is like a basic kind of dance jump. I'd say this goes quite well with what the hook gonna be. I'd say just a good 1-2 punch with that song in terms of Murphy Lee standing on his own and building up further hits. I'd have to say it's like a good house party, get loud within songs type pitch. So just the product of it. This is like a Manny Fresh type beat. So just basic kind of get loud within songs type products of it. Hold Up's like a basic kind of house party and Red Cup type music within the product to just like things kicking off within that particular type of action. So just kind of lighter lick, but still some powerful type stuff for like the aspect, just like some good localized type noise within pitches like that. Red Hot Ripless is a quality one. It's probably one of the best songs off the album in terms of the immediate sense. Just to start off, if you're less familiar with Murphy Lee within songs that pitches, this like a classic J.E. beat to kind of get here. This feels like a Nellyville leftover. I'd have to say just a buzzing kind of summer heater within songs type aspects. So yeah, full St. Lunatics are on this song. Definitely a real excellent song just from the St. Lunatics gang as far as those affairs going to happen. Just excellent type pitch to get further type ones on here. Like the fact that the Tics happen on this album a number of times, so some good type pitches because every single song within the pitch, minus maybe this goes out that these folks are on. Nelly has a pretty flawless touch on this album. All the songs that Nelly is on, between like Cool With It and Red Hot Riplets, and there's like one other song he might be on here, Hold Up, some of these type ones, every single one is just primary Nelly just on like his off year as far as what's supposed to happen. Some excellent type pitches, but Red Hot Riplets is a real excellent standout. Cool With It is another quality one. This has a real nice jazz type production on here, just real beautiful type sample and pitches like that. It's excellent type appeal. It's like a groovy kind of City Commerce kind of get. This reminds me of like 2001 Groovin' Tonight off like the Free City album, pitches like that. It's like a good brisk kind of Muzak reliever as far as this pitch comes. So just to miss a pitch like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock p.m. type dredge with an aspect, this starry kind of City Nights pitches like that, just surfing around some of those type fairs, picking up some smoke at your pizza, some of those type aspects, but just the aspect of just having some good groove type music, taking a bell out on the town, just the basic kind of bleed to that as far as those fairs are going to happen. Good type tones. Gods Don't Chill is a quality one on here. It's like a breezy. This song is like a breezy kind of poolside and hot out kind of basking kind of with these aspects here. Just fraternize amidst like commotion. I'd say a good song to chew the fat as far as what's going to happen. So just amidst the pitch. So just basic poolside type fare. Just a little bit lazier with an aspect, but just still a good charmer with an aspect as far as those tones going to happen. Just more amidst like the hot out. Just good companion with songs like Shake Your Tail Feather when the energy winds down a bit. Love Me Baby's pretty good poolside type music. Some of those type ones. Red Hot Riplets within those tones. But Gods Don't Chill is real necessary kind of poolside type one with an aspect of the breeziness. Grandpa Game Tide's a quality one as well on here. Nice bop about this, like an in-between day kind of trekking kind of get within these aspects here. Just BZ and shopping mall kind of malaise within some of those type tones about it. Just smoke on the go as far as this pitch kind of happens. So this one's a little bit more, amidst like the product likes some move arounds, pitches like that. Just kind of more get some stuff done within a relative. Not so much amidst like the work day, but just kind of the product of just having like some good standard fare. Just whether it is just picking up like a 6-pack of beers or just some extra kind of party favors within some of those type aspects. Have a Bella on the phone, some pitches like that. Is kind of the tone as far as just getting towards like basic kind of shopping type moments that just like the in-between kind of recreational kind of lace-ups as far as those fairs can happen. So it's just more, it's work, but it's fun work as far as those fairs can happen. So just excellent type pitch. Regular Guy is a real nice one off here. Like this one's like a vintage kind of early 2000s kind of house party noise kind of get. This reminds me of like a Jay Quan song pitch, just like that, something he would have done with songs like Tipsy and some of those bangers off that 2004 album. Fair about it is this album came out before that Jay Quan Hood Hop type product, so some good type pitches. This feels like something you would have caught in like an in-between type segment with MTV's Crib, some of those type fairs within the aspect of it. Just good type pitches like that. This kind of neighborhood kind of balance and bop within some of those type products. So I forget the name of the Fabulous song. I might put that in the connotation, but this one of those type ones within pitch that was a single off that album. This feels like some domain kind of show off within pitches like that. Just kind of like a snazzy turn up, I'd have to say here in this party favors pitches like that. So this just amidst the product of like a kick off within some type motions. There are some ones that have a little bit more. Like this is a pretty good type album for like the product to like get into some house party sleaze pitches like that. It doesn't this full bound considering that Nelly was pretty commercial. Murphy Lee was kind of like his wingman that was pretty commercial as well. But it's just the pitch that once you get past like the commercial sheen, there actually are some moments on here for like the the Crown Royal and the Jim Beam and some of those type aspects of saying this album did get pretty tore up within the pitch as far as what's first going to happen. It's just within the product as far as saying that this kind of has it, whereas just the extra type songs are more noticeable to that tangent. It's commercial, but it does have like the in-between kind of just like, yep, this is definitely a pretty feral type product just the more you pay attention to it. So it's just the product as far as saying it's just one that it's not as full bound much of a warning label, but it's kind of the pitch of just having like discretions about it within those pitches. So some good type tones. Some moments on here, plenty of those type moments. Regular Guy, like I was saying, just good house party pitches like that, but yeah, Don't Blow It's another nice one within some of these type pitches, like around the block kind of outing, surfing, kind of get within these aspects, just usual kind of late summer day slag, some of those type pitches within it, just goody runs pitches like that, just good bop to kind of bop along to. Yeah, so don't blow us just a miss like Aaron runs pitches like that. Just kind of another social type one with an aspect, just like some on the run. Another type one a miss like on the run type fares like Grandpa Game type songs that pitched within the format of it. Murphy Lee is a quality one as well. This has a real nice hook on this particular song. This is excellent type fare. It's like a good evening. Sounds like a good evening, kind of lazy enjoyment to kind of get here. Just glazed, kind of golden eyes pitches like that. And I mean golden eyes from like the Smokage and Beer, some of those type fares. This feels like an offshoot of like Dilemma by Nelly as far as those fares go. So the same sort of pitch. It's not quite as commercially full bound within that, but definitely a good product to some of that type fare. That same sort of heartache. Just having more songs within that conduct like Dilemma within some of those type pitch. This the same sort of theme just carrying over with an extra song within some of those type aspects of it. So Extreme is a pretty bopping type one on here. There's like a here and there kind of extra moments to kind of get within these aspects. This feels like a Free City kind of left over the 2001 album by St. Lunatic. Some of that fares, and it's like a good summer night jaunt to kind of get here. Yeah, just the same sort of product like Free City type vibes, just 2003 rendition. So it's a little bit more glossy within the pitch compared to back in 2001. But it's not like that's a bad fare. I mean, Free City's definitely a classic as well for the most part. Free City from 2001 is definitely a classic as well, but this is like a more just So Extreme continues that particular sound, just some good gloss about a good type tones for like summer nicest pitches. Some of these type songs like further kind of Nelly antics within the product of just chigger music out and about within the summer heat, but this is just actually some interesting type fare being amidst that within like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock p.m. type summer nights, some of those type fares within it, just more kind of surfing around those times. Same Old Dirty's a quality one. It's like a city traffic and usual slag kind of product to kind of get here, just smoke a nice one. I'd have to say just some in-between kind of orange skies type moments. So Same Old Dirty is pretty factory within the sense as to how that particular song kind of goes. Just the aspect as far as getting towards like the makeshift kind of usual type slag. It's the aspect of getting towards like the usual makeshift type slag within the pitch behind it. It's the same sort of fare. It's kind of a good relief in just a more traditional type fashion. Now this is more of an album cut, not as much full bound kind of commercial, but just not as much full bound kind of commercial, but a good disc moment to kind of have for some of that type fare, just like further kind of disc aspects of like it's kind of in between type moments amidst like a standard day pacing as far as this first comes. So just amidst the pitch of like picking up like, you know, getting some quick Burger King, some of those type moments are just an aspect of what particularly goes along with like the fare behind it. It's kind of like I was saying, smoke a nice one of this, just some good type fares, just appreciating like the late day kind of breeze about it. But it's just kind of slaggy, but it's just good type tone. And then I Better Go is a quality one. Now this has Avery Storm on here, pretty good type pitch, getting these hooks back in these days, because I want to say Avery Storm didn't pop up as much full bound until like 2004 pitches like that, but it's a good type snag here. It's like a sludgy kind of summer side reflect, kind of get within these aspects, just food for thought, as like a reprieve from like the quick fare of most of this album. I'd say good song to stew to. So it's just the format, just a more food for thought type one of those type ones like up in Nellyville, like the Gank and Say Now, some of those type pitches in the format. Just a more real talk type one with them pitch, but it's just some good type fare. It's not so much real talk in the sense of being like super sobering. It was just kind of after effect of this Bells type fare that just is kind of an aspect of this aspect of Bells type fare just being more real and kind of more serious within the tone behind. Not quite as much frolic like when you think of songs like Shake Your Tail Feather and Love Me Baby, some of those type pitches within the format. Just kind of more amidst like this kind of realer type moments, some of those type tones. So good type pitch. Yeah, that's a ton about it. So classic album within these pitches, 10 out of 10 within the particular tones, but it's easy enough to say. These JE beats definitely hit. The Jermaine Dupri, Manny Fresh, and Jazzy Faye type beats also help out pretty damn well within aspects. So it's just pretty budgeted within the tone. This is not like haphazard or low budget within the appeals. Like I feel like the Ali album did not have as much of like a full bound kind of like that is an excellent. I gave that album a 10 out of 10, but this one's just a little bit more glossy and this has more decked out type appeal. It's just a more kind of whopping type product. And I think really the only true thing that this album really lacks is full bound. It's just like a third or fourth. It's really like a third bound kind of hit that would have been like a top 15, top 30, top 40 type single within Songs I Pitched. I think within the format, like I said, what the hook gonna be is definitely a pretty surprise hit. Definitely excellent type of appeal that got Murphy Lee a hit on his own without Nelly. Love Me Baby is a decent one, but I definitely think probably hold up. If that had been like attempted, that probably would have been the one that could have anchored it better. But I'm not as full bound sure if that would have charged as full bound. But that's the only thing. If this just had a fourth hit, it probably would have been like a full bound classic and a lot more heralded. It's not like it's not a classic. This is definitely very underrated of a project. I think Going Gold, considering the factoid of I think Going Gold was definitely pretty strong within the pitch, but it's just kind of fair that it just feels like this product kind of gets underappreciated. I noticed this album kind of got like a 2.5 stars out of 5 within the product of like All Music and some of the stuff. So I just think there's a lot of gems off this album that go underappreciated. This is Primera Nelly, Primera St. Lunatic, some of the stuff here is Primera STL Hip Hop, some of those particular aspects. It's early 2000s kind of banger that just has a lot of whopping moments on here. So this one pitch, I'd say 10 social. Maybe within the aspect, I would almost say maybe 9.75, but I just think that having the number one, having a top 20 single on top of that's pretty excellent type fare. Does have some Primera, JE, and Nelly to help things out, like I was saying, pitches like that. So I'm just going to give it a 10 social because the impact of this is pretty supreme. All those particular type folks, you should grafted the sound pretty well, disliking Nelly and folks like that within those verses. So it's excellent type of appeal. The production's on here pretty excellent. So say 10 score, 10 social. So in terms of the future, like the Full Boundness, I know that Murphy Lee at least dropped an album in 2009. He was going to drop another album, which I forget what it was going to be called. It was like some album that he was touting for like the longest time that was going to come out. I remember visiting like Murphy Lee's Wikipedia page for the longest time. It was supposed to come out in 2004, then 2006, then 2008. Just never came out until way out in 2009. So it's just when the pitch, it finally did come out in 2009. He might have dropped another album or two after that. Still to say 2009 is 16 years ago. So within those pitches, as far as saying, there might be a few other ones. But for the most part, Nelly was kind of past his prime by the time the 2009 album came out. And it may not have even had him on there within some of the pitches. But I think that's removed from those particular times. But I think still it's worth fucking with as far as what's going to happen. But this is really one of Murphy Lee's only few projects. It's just one pitch as far as saying. But we'll get to some more of these if there are more. But this is definitely a classic. Very notable for like the times. Banner type project. Just continues that trend of St. Louis Tics dominance pitches like that. Some excellent type appeals.